Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Q&A video answer segment type of video leading up to the second half of The Walking Dead Season 6. In this one, we're going to be starting with a recent article from Cinema Blend, which reveals that Frank Darabont, who developed The Walking Dead television series originally, had first planned on having the show on HBO, and he had chosen Tom Jane to play Rick Grimes. I think this one's a pretty cool one. This is good information to know. So we kind of knew already that HBO had actually passed on The Walking Dead originally, but I didn't know that it was Frank Darabont's kind of idea or decision to put it on that network. And then they decided they didn't want it, and because of the timing, Tom Jane went into another show with HBO. And so when Frank Darabont got the contract, it sounds like with AMC, he wasn't able to do it. He wasn't able to play the part, which is pretty funny. So I'll put the link in the description. You guys can read it over yourself from Cinema Blend. And, write your comments below on what you think about Tom Jane and whether or not he'd be a better Rick Grimes than Andrew Lincoln. That's a tough call for me. I mean, I've never really seen... I know he played the Punisher once or twice. I think it was one movie he played the Punisher. And he's been in lots of different things. I would say that I think he looks more like the comic book series Rick than Andrew Lincoln does, actually, in terms of likeness. Especially with the jaw and the nose, just the way his nose is. Compared to Andrew Lincoln. But it's really hard for me to picture anybody else playing Rick Grimes at this point than Andrew Lincoln. It would have been cool to see him, but he almost looks a bit like Shane too, right? So he looks a little bit closer to the comic book series. Maybe like the Rick that was shown in the original, Tony Moore's Rick in the comic book series. Here is the Charlie Adlard Rick right here. His hair and his beard do look more closer than Andrew Lincoln's, I would say. But Andrew Lincoln's such a great actor. It's definitely not a detriment that we've had him play Rick because he's so amazing as an actor. And I don't think Tom Jane would have been able to do any better, really, either way. It's kind of cool to think about, and it's kind of a shame that it didn't get picked up by HBO. It would have probably show something like Game of Thrones if they did that, like 10 episodes would be an hour long. That would have been pretty cool. People bring up also that HBO has nudity in their series. All the guys love that, so that'd be kind of cool. So that's kind of hard to argue that the show would be better on AMC than it would be on HBO when you consider those facts. But I hope you guys had a good Christmas, with your families and everything, and that was good. Let's see, we got a couple days to New Year's, and then we're into 2016, man. Just a little bit closer to when The Walking Dead returns in February. I just absolutely can't wait. And Game of Thrones, too, this year. Talking about HBO, I can't wait for Game of Thrones this year and to see what happens because those two are my favorite. And then this year will be even better because we'll have Fear the Walking Dead on with 15 episodes, which will be sweet. So I'm looking forward to that as well, too. The more zombies, the better. And, the season one of Fear, I still haven't watched it. I have it on Blu-ray right up there. If you guys notice, I set up the backdrop here, which is cool. I added the new traits of the Negan stuff and the other stuff and put the others kind of away. And hopefully they'll flatten out because they're all bent. So we'll see how that goes. So let's get into a few of your guys' questions for today. First one's from Antonini YOLO. And Antonini says, hey Trev, I was just rewatching Breaking Bad, and I noticed that in the first episode, Walt told his boss in the car wash place to go fuck himself. Do you think they can do this with Negan? So this is something I've heard people talk about and something I've actually learned a bit about with regards to cable and swearing. Because at first I thought you could not have swearing really in a cable series unless it was like a subscription-based channel like HBO where they're allowed to swear and it has no repercussions. With regular cable shows, I guess what it is it's dependent on the advertiser. I guess AMC can have swearing in their shows if they want to, but whatever advertisements are shown during that episode, they have to be okay with it, and it could be detrimental to the advertising. So that's money for the show, right? Your advertisements, your commercials. That's where AMC makes their cash. So, it is a question. Are they gonna kind of work around it and talk with their advertisers, let them know in the finale that there's going to be swearing, there's going to be some F-bombs and stuff. Negan likes to swear a lot. And are they going to be okay with it because you bring in the money concern? Or are they going to do like they did at the end of season 4, where you have Rick in the train cart that says they're screwing with the wrong people, but then on the Blu-ray DVD they edit it, they fix it so that it says they're effing with the wrong people. So what are they going to do with the TV series? I can't wait to see. But Anthony, you bring up a good point, which is that in Breaking Bad, Walter did have. But now, what were you watching in Breaking Bad? Were you watching the first episode on cable? Like, were you watching on AMC, or were you watching on the Blu-ray DVD, or did you download it? Because, see, that's a different question. Because just like The Walking Dead, you could have swearing and F words on the DVD and Blu-ray, and if you download it from a rip, if you guys download online, then it could have the the swear word in it, right? I think there's some people have uploaded that part to YouTube with Rick saying they're effing with the wrong people. But yeah, if you're watching it on AMC, the channel streaming TV station, then I'm not sure if he actually says that in the TV show version. So that's where I'm confused. So I don't know for sure. So, I haven't heard a definitive answer on this one. We're going to have to see what AMC decides. Really, it could go either way. There's no right or wrong here. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We'll have to see what AMC chooses to do. Are they willing to risk, possible advertiser, problems just to have Negan swear, or are they going to play it the safe route in the TV series version, have him say screwing or something like that instead, and then the Blu-ray and DVD have him say the actual F word, which actually work out pretty sweet because I buy all the DVDs anyway and the Blu-rays anyway, so that'd be fine with me if they did that, where the TV series version they say screw, and then when you buy the actual DVD collection version or Blu-ray version, he says the F word. So we'll see. It should be cool. But if they do that, I'm fine with that. Next one's from Reese, R-E-C-E, and he's got a Dragon Ball Goku profile pic, which is cool. He says, "Hey Trev, been a subscriber of yours for some time and do love the content you upload for us. Much appreciated and keep up the good work. Would you recommend me in purchasing the Walking Dead compendium books if I intended to read the comics from start to finish?" I like how he quoted that, start to finish. To where it currently is in terms of story. I've always watched a TV series adaptation of The Walking Dead and now significant parts of the comics, but I want to be thorough in everything in the comics and not just the TV series. Many thanks. So the compendiums, what he's talking about, are like they're like an encyclopedia version of The Walking Dead. They're huge, right? I've looked through them. Personally, for me, I don't buy the compendiums. I know there are lots of people that do. For me, they feel too much like reading an encyclopedia or something. Like you lift it up and it's this big book and you've got like tons of stuff. And I think they in the compendiums, because see, in the comics, the original comics, these are probably the best prints of the image. Like you get the full paper and it covers the whole thing. Whereas in the trades, they kind of shrink the image down a little bit to fit the book. And in the compendiums, I believe it's similar. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. Some of you guys who have the compendiums, write it below whether or not it's shrunk down at all, or if it actually is shown full splash page like that, like the original comics are. So let me know which one it is. But for me, with the compendiums, I don't like having the feeling of reading an encyclopedia. That doesn't sound fun to me. I don't like reading textbooks. I don't like reading things that are shaped like textbooks. A lot of the books I read I generally read paperbacks, some hardcover, but no big textbook things. I don't really like that too much. It turns me off to reading. So for me, I collect the trades, but you do as you want, and maybe the compendiums are cheaper. I don't know. And it's definitely a good way to go either way. But for me, I would collect either the trades, and I kind of regret not collecting the individual issues myself because they've all gone up in value so much. And to get a collection of the individual issues nowadays would cost so much. This is like issue 90, which I had taped to my wall, so it's all messed up and stuff. So it's worth nothing. That's one thing about issues. If you want to keep them, they have to be in great quality. Otherwise, they lose their value. They become worth like nothing. So, yeah, but anyway, I would recommend the trades. But it's up to you, man, whatever you want to try. If you prefer the compendiums, everybody's different. So they obviously release them because some people like them. So there you go. Plus, it's kind of cool to have like 3 texts that has everything in The Walking Dead pretty much up to almost current date right now. It's a bit behind, but not too much. Next one's from Andrejek, and allboy3211 is his name, I guess, or his YouTube username. And he says, hey, Trev, I have a quick question for you. Why do you think the writers of The Walking Dead are so focused on keeping the audience unhappy? I've noticed that throughout the series, they are constantly doing things that are keeping us on edge or upset in some way. And usually when things are looking good, someone or something has to come along to ruin the day. I understand they need to have a consistent story to keep the audience interested, but why does it always have to be bad? Of course, you can't expect a zombie apocalypse to be a dance through the daisies all the time. But am I the only one who actually wants to see Rick and the gang at peace for a change, rather than watching them running into death around every corner? This can obviously be asked about any other movie, TV show, and it's probably the same answer. But for the sake of the Q&A, let's keep this exclusive to The Walking Dead. So we have kind of, if you look at Season 4, at the very beginning of Season 4, it was 30 days without an accident. So that's peace right there. That's 30 days, 1 month, in a zombie apocalypse. That is a while to not have anybody die or anybody get hurt or anything bad happen. That is quite a while. So that was the point where we saw that. Now, there was a time skip there too, right? That was like 6 months, right? Time skip. So what happens is in The Walking Dead is they generally time skip over peacetime. So you can kind of fill that in with your own imagination as to what it would be like. But for the most part, it's not all that exciting to watch. That's the reason, is you get people eating, people, having fun, doing that kind of thing. We have had a few parts where they've had fun, and they break it up pretty good, where they include some a little bit here and there, I think, like with the Too Far Gone episode in the TV series version, not Too Far Gone with the Governor, but the part where they have the party and that. For the most part, everybody's drinking, having a good time, and for the most part, most of our characters are happy at that time and are just kind of having a good time. So they do include it in, but the majority of the time in a zombie apocalypse, life is going to be pretty tough, and in The Walking Dead, that's what they show us mostly. They skip over peacetime. The comic book series as well, we've had some time skips that are like a couple years, and we are to assume that during those peacetime, nothing really bad happens. It's the genre of the show. It's a horror, thriller type show, a dark show. So that's what they show us. They don't really show us everything going good and people just relaxing and chilling, that kind of deal. There are shows like that do that, but that's not really The Walking Dead. So it's just a genre. That's what it is. And they do have that time as well, too. And I don't think the people in The Walking Dead really have it that bad. I would much rather be in The Walking Dead universe than in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones would suck. I mean, if you get killed in Game of Thrones, someone's going to cut your freaking head off. Like, if you piss off Joffrey, he's going to cut your head off and put it on a spike. I mean, it's just brutal, man. So, Game of Thrones is worse. Game of Thrones is much worse. Just saying. Next one's from Defuse, and he says, hey, Trev, I've been watching your channel midway Season 2. So thank you for your commitment to the channel and to all of us in the channel who are as obsessed with the Walking Dead world as yourself. Thank you, Defuse. Yeah, I recognize your name. There's a few of you guys left from Season 2, Season 1, way back. Not many, though. But the show has grown, too, right? Like back in Season 1 or 2, when it was just maybe a few hundred of us talking about The Walking Dead in comments and stuff, to now where the show has become one of the biggest shows on cable in cable history. It's just, and Game of Thrones has too. They've just grown so much. But when you have quality like that, when you have really great shows like that, they can grow, right? So they can grow over time, and The Walking Dead has done that. Peaked in Season 5, now it's shrunk a bit in Season 6, but I think with Negan it might make a repeat. But, either way, it's got plenty of audience to keep going, so it's not a big deal. I've just really enjoyed, doing this with you guys over the years. So thanks, Defuse, for your support. Everybody else who's been around for a really long time, and even the new people too. Thanks for your support too, guys. It's just awesome. I love to hang out with you guys and talk about Walking Dead and stuff. He says, in a recent Q&A, you mentioned the possibility of swapping out actors later down the road in the TV series, which is something, they may have to do that. They may have to swap out certain actors unless they want to just kill characters off. And after I just picked up Trade 22, A New Beginning, I had thought, do I have it up there? New Beginning? Top right. Yeah, top right. It's now fit in at the back, but it's got Fear of the Walking Dead's in the way. But it's the top right there. Top right for you guys, top left for me. I just picked up Trade 22, A New Beginning, and I had thought that after the time skip, this would be a great time to switch out cast members. Perhaps a longer time skip in the show to make it more appropriate to use different actors. Thanks, and keep it up. That's a great point from him, because in the comic book series, there's a cover with Rick where he's got the shaved head. I forget which issue it is exactly. And he starts actually looking a little bit like Douglas from The Walking Dead, who's the male version of Deanna in the comic book series. So, and he's not really. I mean, he still will fight, but his body gets thrashed over the years. Like in the comic book series, it's more brutal. He loses his hand, his legs all messed up. So Rick's in kind of bad shape. He's not. He changes from being kind of a front fighter type leader to having to take kind of a back seat more because his body is so thrashed. But he looks a lot like Douglas, and they could, after a time skip, because there's a couple-year time skip there, swap Andrew Lincoln out for a different actor if they absolutely had to, if they absolutely wanted to. That said, they could just kill off certain characters and have other people take their roles. You have Andrea, who's dead, and even though we kind of complain about it sometimes, I know I do, because the comic book series version of Andrea is so awesome, they can just fill her in or switch out somebody for Sasha or something like that, and the story continues, the story goes on. The Walking Dead is so big, it's bigger than one person. If the guy who organized the show left and quit or was fired, and the show is still going on and just growing and growing and growing, it's bigger than one person at this point. It's bigger than just Frank Darabont or even Robert Kirkman, the creator of the show. The show has become so big that if anybody stepped out, AMC would just hire somebody else and probably continue going because it's such a big show now. Same with Game of Thrones too. Even if they don't have the story from George R. R. Martin ready, they can kind of create their own interpretation, which is great. And I can't wait to see how that turns out with its own. It's going to kind of be like Walking Dead, where you've got this story, but you don't know where it's going to go. So the TV series version has to differentiate itself and be its own thing. And Game of Thrones has done that more and more. If you guys can't tell, I'm excited for Game of Thrones too. Over the seasons, right? Which is great. So Walking Dead, it could do the same thing if it had to, and the show would continue on. I'm sure it would do just fine. I don't think it would affect, ratings that much. And we'll do one more. This one's from Hypernova 2K 2.0, and here she says, "Hey Trev, did you know originally Sonequa Martin Green, Sasha, originally tried out for the role of Michonne? Much like how Daryl was created, the crew liked her so much that they made her own character." I think the guy who played Carter, too, was also the same thing, right? Yeah, I think they said that on Talking Dead. So that's pretty cool that they've actually given people who they think have real talent, like actors or actresses who come to the show and want to be on it, just love the series, want to be in the show. If they're patient enough and they stick around and keep wanting it, eventually AMC will be like, hey, you know what? Or the cast involved, the executive producer, whoever it is who's in charge of hiring, will say, let's get this person. She tried out for Michonne. She was great. Or Norman Reedus tried out for Merle, and he was awesome, but he just... we're going to go with Michael Rooker because he fits that bad guy role more than Norman Reedus does, or he feels a little bit more like what we want him to feel like. But we're going to still use him because he's got such talent too. We don't want to turn him away, so we're going to create a character and use him. And Sasha, it seems like, was that. I checked her Twitter for this to just a reference, and you're correct, Hypernova 2K. She did say that originally she tried out for Michonne. I didn't know that. That's also new news to me as well, too, today. I didn't know that prior. So that's pretty cool that she tried out for Michonne. And, again, it's nothing against the actor, the actress. Norman Reedus is amazing. Sonequa Martin Green, she's amazing, right? But sometimes you'd have a certain person who fits the role particularly maybe better to what they envision or what they want, so that they'll go with that. And then maybe you have somebody like David Morrissey, who's so good, even gets his freaking doctorate because of his work, honorary doctorate in drama, which is amazing. Congratulations to him for sure, for playing the governor, of course. Where they'll kind of make they'll make a decision that's best for the show. They'll take people who maybe they don't look quite as much like the character, someone else might be better for it, but they see talent, so they'll pick the person and use them for something else. Really cool. And so far it's worked out great. Having Daryl on the show has been awesome, and we'll see if they're going to kill him off in the finale. I'll probably be wrong. They probably won't. I don't know, man. I keep going back and forth, and now I'm like, well, could it be Morgan, man? It's probably going to be Morgan, because they're doing such weird things with him, and maybe Lenny James. I don't know. It's crazy. It's no way to know for sure. So let me know what you guys think about all the different questions here, what you think about a different actor possibly had been cast as Rick, HBO, what it would have been like on there, what you think about the comic book series and the best way to read it, and what you think about Sonequa Martin Green and her initially trying out for Michonne and not getting it. Again, same with Norman Reedus, tried out for Merle, didn't get the part. Crazy, man. So that's why in life you can't beat yourself up if you fail sometimes. It's just, everybody does. It doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. That's all there is to it. So take that with you guys. Anyway, that's it for this video today. If you guys like the video, please thumb it up below. Hope you guys are enjoying your time off. If you got some time off for the holidays, spend lots of time with your family. Of course, see you guys again pretty soon, probably tomorrow or the next day for, New Year's coming up as well, too. So 2015 is almost gone. If you guys like the video, thumb it up, share, favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for today. So see you guys again real soon. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.